Okay, so now, before we do this example, one of the things that we also have to be aware of is the way things are phrased. Again, you could take the same words and phrase them differently or rearrange the words and you have a completely different operation going on, or a completely different equation that you're going to set up. Okay, so you got to also make sure you read the problems carefully and understand what's being linked together. Okay, so let's give an example. So let's take these two statements, okay, and let's see what the difference between these two statements is by translating each one into the appropriate symbolic form. Okay, so now what does this one say? It says 4 times the difference between a number and 8 is 24. Okay, so here the arrangements, the order is important. So it says here, it says 4 times what? 4 times the difference. Okay, 4 times the difference between a number and 8. Well, first of all, let's represent a number. So a number we'll call n, right? So we want to do 4 times the difference. Well, so it's 4 times what? So what, again, binary operation, we've got to multiply two things. Well, we're taking 4 times what? The difference between. Okay? So that means, what are we doing? We're taking 4 times the difference between two other numbers. Well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is between a number and 8. Okay? And of course, then we have is equals and then 24. So how would we translate this? Well, in this case, it would be translated into what? 4 times the difference, right? 4 times the difference between what? A number and 8. Okay? So a number and 8, how do we form that? The difference between a number and 8. It would be a number and 8. So in this case, we always go in the order that's given. The number and 8 would be just n minus 8. So 4 times the difference between a number and 8 is 24. And so this is the correct way of writing it. Now let's compare that to number 2. Number 2 says the difference between 4 times a number and 8 is 24. So now it starts off the difference between. What would the difference between what? The difference between what? 4 times a number and. There it is. There's the key. And. Right? Just like up here. The difference between a number and 8. Here, it's the difference between 4 times a number. Right? 4 times a number and 8. So what's getting grouped together? What's being subtracted? Right? The difference between, subtraction, right? So what's being subtracted? This whole thing, 4 times a number, right? Which in this case is what? 4n. Right? So we're taking the difference between 4 times a number and 8. So that translates into 4n minus 8 is, right, equals 24. See the difference? So be very careful about when you're reading problems, because phrasing and the order and how we write things is very important. Okay? See ya.